Hypnotherapists, therapists, coaches, healers are some of the hardest working individuals that I know. And I don't think that people can even begin to grasp what it is that we go through as individuals. We put our own mental health, our own sanity on the line to help people, to hear them out, to attempt to help them clear out all of this confusion pertaining to what they're going through. And it's exhausting, it's draining a lot of the time. It's happened to me where I'm so invested in my client that even after my session, I feel a lot of heaviness. And one of the last things I want to do is bring all those troubles back home with me. It's a bit mind boggling for me when I see what people are charging per session. And yes, I get that we want to help people, yet I also see it from the perspective that a lot of the times, the cheaper something is, the less we actually care about it, the less we put in any effort, because we may think to ourselves, well, it's not really that big of a deal, or my insurance covers it. And so there isn't this necessity to actually invest into the therapy or the coaching that they pay for. When in reality, this is very deep work. And I believe that anyone deciding to seek help should be committed and willing to pay for good service. There are two things that we should never be cheap with. One is food. Cheap food will kill you. And two is mental health. Cheap mental health keeps you in a victim mentality and this codependent relationship with your coach or your therapist. People will be in therapy for years with no tangible results, with nothing to show for, and then they start to think to themselves that therapy doesn't work, when in reality it's cheap therapy that doesn't work. Some will say mental health is a luxury, call it roses and petals. It's necessary. Poor mental health will do way more harm to you than good. And the same people who say they don't have money for therapy or coaching, or buying clothes, going out to eat at expensive restaurants, and taking vacations, they get this quick high from these activities and then go right back to where they started, saying, well, I don't have the money for therapy, or, therapy should be free, which makes no sense. On the contrary, good mental health actually puts you in a space where you can make more money, where you can pursue bigger and better things in your life, and overall feel better about yourself. And now I really want to touch this idea: should mental health be free? And it should not. Let me go on record and say something. I've done free sessions, I've done plenty of them actually. And I'll tell you what, nobody, and I mean nobody, gets better results than the people who pay good money for their therapy or their coaching. And you might say, well, it's free, it's a great resource. Wrong. Our mind associates money with security and safety. If I pay for therapy, I'm risking my security. And what tends to happen is that because I'm risking something, my mind becomes hyper focused, hyper vigilant, and starts looking for a solution to my problem. If you're a coach or you're a therapist and you needed an incentive to raise your prices, this is one of them. And yet there are those of us who think that mental health should be free. And funny enough, I had that perspective too. And that was until I went to the jungle where I lived with a shaman, may he rest in peace. And in the jungle, the shamans are considered to be the doctors of the village. When someone is sick, they go to him and he prepares a plant remedy for them. Now, let me tell you something that blew my mind. Even in this poor community somewhere in the jungles of Peru, these villagers who brought their newborns or their young children, or even themselves when they were feeling sick or when they were in pain, never showed up empty handed. If they had money, they would offer him the little money that they had. If they didn't have money, they would bring him chickens or fresh fish. One time I saw them bring him a sacks of plantain and yuca. Mind you, this is someone who spent years studying the pharmacopoeia of the jungle. Time, energy, sacrifice, all going into his craft. When I saw this, I really understood the value of the work that someone puts in to help others. And these villagers understood that there has to be some exchange for the services that they will receive. This just goes back to the point that I'm trying to make. Therapists, hypnotherapists, coaches are criminally underpaid, and they often make the mistake of charging low prices to compete with other professionals. Yet ironically, this actually does nothing to help our clients. The cheaper something is, the less we're likely to take it serious, the less effort we will put in. The mental health space is one of the quickest professions where those involved experience burnout, and their mental health is going to suffer dramatically because of that. So One of the ways to do that is to work with people who really are looking and seeking to get help, and people who respect your time, your energy, and your craft. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.